That's expensive. Whew. So what we paid almost a year ago to buy the wood to build the Playmore, that cost today is
I was getting lost in the quicksand. Pink clouds didn't do it to my head.
Hey everybody, if you're new here, we are continuing on with our frame rebuild renovation of this 1956 Calcraft. Here at the old Trailer Trash to Treasure HQ, it has been one of two things this week. It's either been really rainy or really busy. So that happens. What are we going to do today? Price of wood has gone way, way, way up, and that's going to make this rebuild much more expensive. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to look at that SketchUp model that I made. I'm going to try to at least put together a initial wood list, and we're going to see what some of this wood's going to cost. So should be interesting. We'll look back at last year's receipts and see what the cost of wood was then, and we'll see what the cost of wood is today. You know, kind of the traditional method of working on wood projects is you come up with what you think you need, and then you add 10 or 20% for mistakes and extras. Well, 10 to 20% at today's wood prices is quite a bit of money, so we're going to try to avoid that. You know, yeah, there'll be a little extra with what we get to initially start, but what I found in the last project is most of that stuff is going to go into building other little things in there. So I really had almost zero overage in the wood that I bought for our Playmore renovation. I'm going to get inside and we're going to look at that SketchUp model and think about what we need to get. Okay, so what I've gone and done is I've gone through my SketchUp and kind of counted up, you know, where I'm going to need a 2x4 to cut down. And one thing to always keep in mind, and 2x4s that you buy at the store are not actually 2 inches by 4 inches. They are 1.5 inches by 3.5 inches. So when you're thinking like, oh, I'm going to just, you know, cut a 2x4 in half and I'll have two pieces that are half the length, you know, you're not starting with 4 inches, you're starting with 3.5 inches. And the other important thing to remember is that most table saw blades are 3/32 of an inch thick, so it's going to remove that much wood. What you're really working with is 3.5 inches minus 3/32 of an inch. So what I do is I draw a little diagram of how I'm going to cut it so that I 100% know if I can get two pieces out of a single 2x4. 2x4s are actually going to be a 1/16 of an inch narrower than what they originally used on those campers because they were using, you know, they cut wood differently back in the 50s. So I'm going to have to adjust my model a little bit to account for the 1/16 of an inch difference that we're going to wind up with here. So knowing that I'm going to get one piece out of each 2x4, I just drew a little diagram showing where all the boards are on my deck, and then I just counted them up. I assume I can get all three of those middle pieces out of one 2x4, so I just counted that as a single 2x4. You know, the walls are a little trickier because when you look at that diagram, you know, there's little pieces here and there, and I just kind of, you know, okay, this is going to come out of one, this is going to come out of one, and this piece is going to come out of one. So those are one. Adding those up, you know, 8 verticals, 5 horizontals. Turned out both walls are going to need about the same. Since I can get 2 of each one of those out of each 2x4, I actually only need 7 2x4s for each wall. 18 ceiling joists that wrap around the camper. I can get 2 out of each 2x4, so I only need 9 of those. I need a 2x12 by 6 to do both wheel wells, and then I need 2 pieces of 3/4 inch ply for the deck, and then I need 6 pieces of 1/4 inch birch for the walls, and 9 pieces of 1/8 inch birch for the ceiling as it goes around. And that should be every single piece of wood that I need to build the box. Doesn't include any of the cabinetry or anything like that. It's not a lot, but at the price of wood today, it's going to be expensive. All right, so we're at Home Depot. We're going to go take a look and see how outrageous the price of lumber has gotten to be and see what this is going to cost us. Okay, so I'm thinking it's $7.63 for the cheap 2x4s or $9.98 for the premium ones. So I kind of think I'm going to go for the premium ones because there's less knot holes and the edges are better and probably better to cut down in the long run. All right, and so for the plywood, most of these are built out of birch. So looking at that, we need some 1/4 inch birch, and that'll be the walls. And then we're gonna also need some 1/8 inch birch, which they may or may not have. So we'll see what they have there. And then just regular 3/4 inch plywood for the decking under the floor. That's expensive. Whew. Okay, so it started raining again, so I'll try to be a little brief with this, and I'll just say, Jake, if you're watching, I'm sorry I parked your handiwork out in the rain. I'll get it cleaned up and painted. It'll be good. Turns out I couldn't find 1/8 inch like I thought I could. I found something kind of similar, so I'm going to use that as the basis of sort of calculating the cost here. But I went ahead and went back to some of those orders I made a year and a month ago to buy the wood to finish up or to rebuild the Playmore. So those were online orders that I did in-store pickup. So I can pull them up and look at everything I ordered and also click on it and see what the current price is. And it was kind of interesting to see how things had changed. But what we paid last year for the lumber to make the Playmore was $676.70. Not too bad. I don't think. That cost today is $1,076.60. So yeah, that's not inconsequential. I mean, that's almost exactly $400 more for the same material. Kind of surprising. But what is maybe even more surprising, and I can't compare the Playmore to the Calcraft exactly because we're using a little bit different dimension of wood to build this out of. But what's interesting to me, and we'll see if this number holds when we actually get into it and start buying everything, but I believe, totaling up everything that we have, $846.34 to buy the wood to rebuild this camper. So, I mean, it's more than what we paid on the Playmore, but less than what we would currently pay to do the Playmore, which to me is surprising because the actual box of the camper, of the Calcraft, is a little bit larger. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that turns out. You know, if you would have told me when I started this YouTube channel that, hey, you're going to have a bunch of free time, but oh, by the way, in a year, the prices on all the raw materials for doing what you're going to do are going to skyrocket. I don't know. I'd be surprised. Anyway, you know, thank you for subscribing. If you haven't already, please do. And new videos come out every Sunday, so pop a like on there, and I'll see you next week.
I can hear the wind chiming. It's always been